Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
Hello, I am the Reverend Ruth Van Lillian. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast, a covenantal community founded on loving kindness and a common devotion to our free faith. We recognize all the earth as sacred ground, and we welcome each other into this virtual space. We especially welcome those visiting with us today. We are so glad you are here. We invite you to check out our website and our Facebook page to learn more about us. We hope to touch hearts, teach minds, challenge spirits, and comfort souls. May you find refreshment and restoration in our service today.
Across the distance, the light from within me shines, sending love to all. Across the distance, your light is fuel that warms me and helps to keep my own light burning. Together, we keep the flame of community burning bright.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my study. It's been a while. Ms. Shar asked me to tell the story today, and when she told me the topic, I got really excited and I said, Ms. Shar, I have the absolute perfect story for today, and it's a true story. So today's first lesson is that every little video you see on the internet is not actually true. Sometimes they're intentionally false to, just to make you believe things that aren't true. And sometimes they were just supposed to be funny. So this little video that a friend of mine shared with me was written by a wonderful comedy writer, but I didn't know that. I thought it was a real thing with an athlete and a reporter from the Olympics in 2018. And but when I went to research, I found out that Quinta Brunson is a really creative comedian, and she's well known in social media comedy, which is not something that I get involved in, so I had never heard of her. So that's the first lesson, is always check out like what you're watching on the internet. So what we really are going to talk about today is how we talk about people who are really good at something and talk about people who are really good at something, but they're not the greatest of all time. And what the reporter does in this video is almost try to put words in Quinta's mouth. And that's not how she's feeling. And she really, really does a great job of showing him how she feels. So I'm going to share this video. It's really short, and then we can talk, we'll talk a little bit more about coming in second and why that's not a bad thing, or coming in third, or just making it to the Olympics. So let's see if I can share my screen. And here we go.
Here in Pyeongchang, we have Quinta, who just placed second, receiving a silver medal. Gotta hurt a little bit, kind of faltered on that McTwist. How are you feeling about that?
I did everything as I expected to, and I came in second. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with twitter.com, but on the website right now, Black Twitter says, I killed that shit.
Obviously didn't land that last jump.
Oh, I didn't expect to land that jump. I was taking a chance. So it's crazy that I'm alive right now.
Obviously not expecting Germany to bring that level of competition to the game.
Oh, no, I fully expected Germany to do what they did. They do that kind of stuff for fun. I believe it's an ice sport country. I'm from West Philadelphia. I learned at the YMCA how to do my thing. So it's amazing I made it here in the first place. Shout out to my man who went from Germany. I see you. Yes.
Very optimistic. No regrets, apparently.
No. We got some champagne in the back, so I gotta go. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to my mom. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Quinta, silver medalist, gotta hurt, but she's tried her best out here, and
I sure did. Listen, I'm at the Olympics, and I got second place. What place did you get today? All right, buddy. Stay warm out here, all right?
back to you.
So you can see that he kept trying to convince her that, second place wasn't so great. And she was so excited. And I think we do that a lot. And since a lot of us have been watching Olympics this week, maybe we should think about all those other people that get there and give them credit for that, and not try to talk them into feeling badly about their performances. So that's my little story for today, and I'll have some more for you later this month. And I hope you have a good week.
Let us spend a few moments of silence together, and I'll close us with a few words of meditation. Let us open ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and embrace in this moment the great mystery of which we are all a part. Today, some of us are hurting. Some of us are frightened. Some of us are celebrating. Some of us are wondering. All of us need each other. And we recall in this space and time our connection to all living things. The force of life flows through us, reminds us of who we are, and recalls us to our deepest, truest selves. We are conscious of our faults and failings, and eager to live lives of loving kindness. May we remember this day and every day that we are a part of the family of the earth, and we belong to this community of friends and fellow pilgrims. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Not being together today is the worst. It's the worst of the worst. It's the worstest. We've all been planning to come back to the church building, to see each other, to meet the new minister, to engage in the collective experience of the Sunday service, to drink coffee. What else? And talk and laugh and hug. We all imagined it, hoped for it, dreamed of it. And now, here we are, still stuck at home, watching a screen. Again, it is the worstest. We've been riding these rough seas for a year and a half, and it is beginning to feel like we'll never make it back to land. We can see in the distance. We long to put our feet back on solid ground. It feels like our individual and collective vessels are being tossed about with such force as to make us fear that we will fall out and drown in the cold water. But my friends, we won't. We must remember who we are and what we are called to do. We are a community and we have each other's backs, fronts, tops, and bottoms. No one in this community is sailing these rolling waves alone. We are all in this together, and we will continue to weather these storms. We are a vital presence on this part of the Florida Panhandle. This congregation is the Unitarian Universalist presence in this area. We are a beacon of liberal faith, a haven for those engaged in the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and an equipping launch point for the work of justice. Our mission matters more now than ever. Though I've broken my vow 1,000 times, though I've broken my vow 1,000 times, think back to the first time you walked into the door of this church. How did it feel? What did you notice first? Did someone speak to you, or did you enter quietly? Did you know anything about UUism, or was it a random choice? How did you feel after your first experience here? What were you hoping to find? Clearly, something intrigued you, appealed to you, touched you in some way that made you want to return. Something about this congregation met a need and offered something you were searching for. Years ago, I babysat for a college professor who found it interesting that I was headed towards seminary. He confided that he had recently resumed attending church after a long hiatus. Their son had turned 2, and Rich smiled and shook his head as he confessed, "I love Nicholas, of course, but that child challenges me every day. I get so frustrated and I hear myself expressing things I never imagined I would think, let alone say, to my child." He looked up at me in embarrassment. "I'm going to church again because I need a place where I can be forgiven for being such an imperfect parent." When you came through that church door, were you perfect? Were you looking for a gathering of perfect people? Sadly, churches have a general reputation of being places that expect perfection out of their members. Though I've broken my vow 1,000 times. We see it and hear it everywhere, especially in the Olympic season. Jump the highest, run the fastest, be the best of the best. I call it the culture of the superlative. It's all about being the estest. You know what I mean. That medal winner was the youngest or oldest ever in that sport. This athlete has won the most medals. That athlete is now the greatest of all time, which unfortunately is GOAT. A few years ago in Birmingham, we had a little snowstorm. It put down about a half-inch of snow, and it was quickly labeled Snowmageddon, the worst storm ever. I know, you northern folk are laughing. But now, in the last 18 months, what we hear mostly is news of the worst, the baddest, the ugliest statistics and reports of the COVID disaster compared to previous disasters and predictions of the direst of disasters to come. The spread of the Delta variant is the estest news of recent weeks and the exhaustingest we've ever heard, and provokes the worstest anxiety we've ever felt, and promises to be the sleep-losingest, appetite-suppressingest, isolatingest apocalypse the world has ever seen. Well, at least since last year's fear of running out of toilet paperist disaster the world had ever seen then. I don't mean to make light of the situation. COVID-19 is a bad, scary illness, and the Delta variant makes it badder and scarier. We are right to take it seriously and adopt a defensive posture. We need to do all we can to reasonably keep ourselves and each other safe. But maybe we could dial down the estest frenzy just a bit. Maybe we could find some room to relax together just a little and remember that we're not alone in this thing, that vaccinations do work to keep people out of the hospital, that the vaccination rate is going up, and that vaccinations for children are coming. Can we set the estest aside as we continue to combat COVID? I know we have a long-standing tradition of admiring the superlatives. Just look at the Guinness World Records Company. The idea came about in the early 1950s when Sir Hugh Beaver, managing director of the Guinness Brewery, attended a shooting party. There he and his hosts argued about the fastest game bird in Europe and failed to find an answer in any reference book. Several years later, recalling the argument, Sir Hugh had the idea for a Guinness promotion based on the idea of settling pub arguments, and invited the twins, Norris and Ross McWhirter, who were fact-finding researchers in Fleet Street, to compile a book of facts and figures. They came out with the first edition in 13 weeks. The new company, Guinness Superlatives, opened in Ludgate House on November 30th, 1954. And the rest is superlative history. Oh, and the fastest game bird is the golden plover, in case you were wondering. The attraction of being famous superlatives holds such sway over us. In fact, we learn to assign value to others and ourselves based on how we measure up. We have national and local leaders who talk a lot about winners and losers. We have a lot of cultural admiration for winners and very little interest in or sympathy for losers. But mental health professionals remind us that we learn a lot more from losing than winning, that failure is often the first step toward success. It's not that I object to a little competition, nor am I immune to the ongoing fascination with record setters, but I am concerned that we don't make enough room for everyone else. Most of us will never set a world record for anything. And those few who do will find the fame and admiration short-lived because there is always a line of eager competitors waiting for a chance to set new records of their own. We don't have to look any further than the gymnast Simone Biles, who stepped down to allow others to compete in Tokyo because she had to put her health first, and what criticism she has endured. Come, come, whoever you are. The current state of emergency and our culture of the superlative are proving a dangerous combination which threatens to make a bad situation worse. It is vital to know the science, to take advantage of the vaccine, to follow mitigation guidelines, but the Estest messaging and the misinformation are all designed to add panic to the mix, and panic never helps. Panic makes people do weird and crazy things, like hoarding bathroom tissue. It is one thing to admire perfection and another to punish the imperfect for their imperfections. Take a closer look at the Olympics. Much media hype is made over potential gold medalists, but the athletes disappear from view when they fall short. Oh, we pet on silver and bronze medal winners for a few screen minutes as we demand that they tell us how they feel about their failure. Failure? These are the top athletes in the world. Only a few even get to compete in the Olympic Games, yet we treat those who don't make the Estest scores like failures. When I was ordained in the Methodist Church, I had to respond aloud to founder John Wesley's famous questions asked of all aspiring clergy. Are you going on to perfection? Do you expect to be made perfect in this life? Are you earnestly striving after it? My co-ordinands and I struggled with these questions. How could we honestly claim that we expected to be made perfect? Most of us were just hoping to develop some level of competency in the skills we needed to be parish ministers. Perfection seemed not only impossible, but also an unreasonable goal for us to strive for. Of course, I answered yes, like everyone else, but I felt unsure and even frightened of my imperfections and self-doubt. The obsession with perfection in churches and the mixed message that forgiveness is available, but everyone must be perfect, may come from misinterpretation of a lesson Rabbi Jesus is reported to have taught. A line in the Christian sacred text reads, "Be perfect, therefore, as your Father in heaven is perfect." Taken out of context, this presents an impossible standard for any person to meet. It implies that church is only for the perfect. The misinterpretation lies in removing it from the lesson about trying to love our enemies. It's about aspiring to do more than love those who love us back and reward us for our affection. This is about deeper, harder love. It requires us to aspire to divine level compassion in order to really live with, cooperate with, engage with people in whose company we don't always feel comfortable. At this time when we must keep physical distance from people for the sake of everyone's health, this call to a deeper and more difficult love is well worth remembering. When I was asked as an aspiring Methodist clergy person if I was going toward perfection, expecting to be made perfect and earnestly striving after it, I recognized that it was only with the deepest humility that I could answer with a small, scared yet hopeful yes, believing that the power of love was stronger than both my own many imperfections and the brokenness of the world I so wanted to repair. That same brokenness will certainly come into even sharper focus as we continue to live through the pandemic. So when you entered our church door for the first time, were you looking for a group of perfect human beings? If so, then you must have been sadly disappointed. Sorry, Unitarian Universalists, y'all are right nice and very welcoming. Clearly, you're committed to the principles and you've done some great work to help make the world better, but perfect? Well, no. I must inform you, in case you weren't already aware, none of us is perfect. Yet. Though I've broken my vows 1,000 times. When you found your way to our church, were you looking for a place where you, all of yourself, would be welcome? Were you looking for a place to be forgiven, or accepted, or understood, or appreciated, or loved, or all of these? Did you bring all of your gifts and your imperfections? Did you offer all of yourself to the cause of building a better world? Well, you probably came to the right place then. And you were probably exactly the imperfect pilgrim that this congregation needed, even if they didn't know it yet. We do have room for imperfection here, and we can learn from each other's gifts and help heal each other's brokenness. We don't all have to be superlative. We do not have to be the estest of the estest. We don't even have to pretend. When someone asks us how we are, we don't have to reply, awesome, especially if we're not feeling particularly awe-inspiring in that moment. We can say, adequate, thanks, and you? Unitarian Universalists not only welcome the imperfect, but we won't try to fix them either. No creeds here to force everyone to pretend to think alike. No strange practices to alter folk and make them appear more acceptable. Superlatives are optional here, and imperfection is welcome. Remember, siblings and kindred, we are all in this together, all imperfect, all a bit scared, all trying to figure things out. We will all try, and sometimes we'll fail, and then we'll try again. We'll help each other, encourage each other, tolerate each other. We may even share our toilet paper and our sanitizer, and we will get through this together. None of us has to face things alone. Not in this church community, not ever. Imperfect we may be, but we will be imperfect together. Come, come, whoever you are. Come yet again, come. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
May the light of love be ever vigilant in our hearts and deeds.
Siblings and kindred, we need not be the best of the best. We need be only ourselves. We are all welcome here, and we have so much to do. Let us go in peace.